Hey y'all, so I thought I'd sit down with you guys today to share a few of my favorite books. So I said, during the quarantine period, I'd read like 25 to 30 books and kind of get a consensus of my top 5, top 10, so I can talk about them. Obviously, I'm not going to mention all the books because there's a few books that I've read that I'm like, they're not my favorite. I'm going to just keep going. My rule of thumb for books is usually, depending on the length of the book, but 100 pages. And after 100 pages, I can kind of go from there and decide, is this book for me? Is this book not for me? So yeah, let's get started. I'm excited. I don't think I clarified this before, but you don't have to go out and buy these books. You don't have to go out and spend $25, $30, $40 to buy these books. That's not necessary. I'm a firm believer that you don't need to spend money to learn something, to understand something. So there's resources online. Lama, take a breath. I'm talking too fast. Books make me excited. There's resources online. You can go look for PDFs. You can even go look for audiobooks. Audible free trials. This isn't sponsored. And then YouTube also has audiobooks that you can kind of look up. So you don't always have to go out and spend a bunch of money to read a book. I do like paper books. I do like actual holding the book physically. Plus I like smelling. As weird as it sounds, books have a smell. I like book smells. Yeah, this is the one I'm reading now, actually. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I can't tell you how many times people have told me to read this book. I've gotten it recommended personally by 2 of my friends, and then I got recommended by a bunch of you guys on Instagram DM. So I finally bought it. I found a copy, and I started reading it, but I only got, where's my bookmark? Where's my, right here. I only got this far, which is not very far. I still need a long way to go. It's still considered the beginning. Right here. Yeah, verification before we begin. So I do like personal finance. I like any books on self-development, growing intellectually, anything like that. So that's kind of the genre that we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to open up my Instagram to go to my bookshelf, and I'm going to show y'all a few books. So these are kind of my all-time favorites. I don't know if I'm going to talk about all of them here, but The Art of Communication, Failing Forward, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think I'm going to talk about this one next because this one's good. If you're starting out with personal finance, or if you just want to learn about personal finance, even if you don't have any set goals, this is the book to start. What else? Before You Quit Your Job, Today Matters, Bad Blood. Ooh, Bad Blood, I think I want to do a full video on. Just that alone, I can't. There's so many handprints on my laptop. I'm sorry. I'll clean my laptop. Anyways, I get excited. The Laws of Human Nature. It was a little overhyped, but it was good nonetheless. Let's see what else. The Art of War, that I'm going to be honest, The Art of War I had to read 3 times. And I don't mind rereading a book, but there was just so many, I don't know, I understood it the first time and I was like, okay, I understand it. Let me read it again because maybe I didn't understand it. And the 3rd time I was like, okay, I can actually incorporate this in my life. Because I always try to look for that in books. How can I incorporate it in my life? How can it fully help me better develop as a person? Then is You Are a Bad Word. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. Ooh, The Wisdom of Psychopaths. I want to talk about this one too. And then Excellence Wins. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I did like that one. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read this when I was in middle school maybe, or freshman year of high school. But of course, as you get older, books do have a new meaning, so you should reread them, in my opinion. And Ikigai. Yeah, let's talk about books. Okay, so I keep moving around, but the first book I want to talk about is Ikigai. So Ikigai by Hector Garcia and Francis Morales. Now, this book honestly was one of the shortest books. It was the shortest read. It was very fast. I finished it maybe in half a day. I remember I started listening to the audiobook on the way to the gym, and then at the gym, while I was stretching, I was literally physically reading the book. And then on my way back, I finished it in the audiobook. Maybe took 3 hours maximum. The book was so short, and it was so informative and so jam-packed with everything. It wasn't my favorite book. I would not rate it a solid 10 out of 10. I'd say 7, 8 out of 10 maybe, just because there were some aspects of it that I was kind of questioning, and I wish that they developed a little further. But for the most part, I really, really liked how they talked about, let me give you a summary of the book. I'm rushing into my opinion before I even told you what it's about. I'll give you all a quick summary of the book, but there's honestly not enough I can say because I did actually enjoy it. So it's a book about these researchers who go into a small town in Japan, and essentially they're researching this town where the life length, I can't remember, people live to a very long age, and they live very healthy, and they're very active. And the book kind of goes around studying them and learning from them, their culture, what they eat, their diet, also their health habits, how they live their culture and life, and how they interact with each other. And the book kind of summarizes what they do and how that affects their long and healthy lives. And that book was it was very, very good. I liked it. It just teaches you how to, for me, what I took from it is being humble, being healthy, and kind of finding the true meaning and happiness in life. Like I said, there's some aspects that I was like, I'm questioning this, and I want you to go into more detail, but overall it was really, really good. I want to read y'all a few quotes that I wrote down. I annotated my copy. I don't have it physically because I lent it out, but I did annotate my copy. Don't worry. The secret to a long life is to not worry and to keep your heart young. Don't let it grow old. Open your heart to people to people with a nice smile on your face. If you smile and open your heart, your grandchildren and everyone else will want to see you. So number 2, your body will break down. Exercise to stay healthy, eat well, and spend time with people. Number 3, nurture your friendships every day. Talking to people you love, that's the secret to a long life. Number 4, live an unhurried life. My secret to a long life is always saying to myself, slow down, relax. You live much longer if you're not in a hurry. And number 5, be optimistic. So these are just a few notes that stood out for me that I wrote down. Of course, the book goes into I think 11 or 12 other tips or lessons, takeaways from the book, but these are very, very good. They talk about green tea and how it reduces the risk of a heart attack, strengthening the immune system, helping relieve stress, lowering cholesterol, lowering blood sugar levels, protecting against the flu, prompting bone health and fluoride. So the book isn't just overall about health and what you eat, but it's also about how you live your life, how you carry yourself, how you communicate with others, and how that impacts the longevity of your life. So how that impacts longevity. I can't say longevity. Why? But yeah, I talked about this book for a long time. It's because I like it. Like I said, it's a short book, but it's just full of all these little goodies. I don't know. So next book. Oh, I'm excited. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Right here. Oh my God, no. So I'll put a cover of it so y'all can see. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. This book is, there's so many little treasures in here. I'll read y'all one of my favorite quotes. I included this in my Instagram bookshelf. So, an important distinction is that rich people buy luxuries last, while the poor and middle class tend to buy luxuries first. So, like I said, I read this book in June, I want to say, and then I reread it a few weeks ago. I got into personal finance, and I've kind of been hooked on personal finance and personal financial development, I guess. If you're first starting out and you don't know where to start, say you want to learn a little bit about types of investments, whether it's real estate investment, whether it's investment in the US stock market, whether it's different types of investment, I would recommend this book. So it doesn't use big financial lingo. There's not a lot of huge vocabulary. It's very straight to the point and simple. It uses kind of storytelling about his background, and then also gives you examples of how you can apply it in your life. So I don't want to give it away too much, but it's a really good book. I want to summarize the book, but one thing that stuck out with me in the book that I really liked is it talks about people that are financially intelligent, people that are not as financially smart with their decisions. So one of the specific aspects of the book was talking about, I was kind of discussing that people that are financially intelligent, what they do is they take out smart debt. They take out loans and invest it in a way, whether it's in the US stock market, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in a business with very low risk. And then from that, they take the earnings, they take the proceeds, and they reinvest it. Then from those earnings, once they've made their money back, then they spend money on things that they don't need, like a new Ferrari, a new Porsche, luxuries essentially. And then Robert Kiyosaki, he goes back and he discusses people that aren't as financially intelligent. He says that people that aren't as financially intelligent, they go out and maybe they'll use a smart debt, maybe they won't use a smart debt, but they'll get the proceeds and earnings they made back and immediately spend it on a luxury rather than reinvesting it in a different way. Or they'll just work a 9 to 5, save up, and then they have this lump sum of money, like $100,000, $50,000, whatever it is. They'll have this lump sum of money, and instead they'll go spend it on a luxury rather than spending it on a smart investment where they can make their money back and reinvest till they're in a place where this is kind of throwaway money. I guess the best way to describe it, luxury money, luxuries, spending money on luxuries, like throwaway money, I guess. This is how I would describe it. But overall, really good book. I would recommend it to someone in their early 20s just because it would teach you a lot about being financially intelligent, financially stable. So this is a book I would recommend for people that are younger. So solid 9.5 out of 10. And I know he does have a series of a few other books, but I've only read 3 of them, so I can't speak that well about all of them. But overall, yeah, really good stuff. So one thing I did feel, I failed to discuss this part, but in the book, Robert Kiyosaki speaks about his childhood and how his father was working, regular 9-to-5 day job, and how he was considered a poor dad, and how his best friend's father was a rich dad who had a business, who constantly reinvested his funds and grew his business further. And in the book, young Robert Kiyosaki and his best friend ended up working for the rich dad, who taught them about business and who taught them about different aspects of investing. And honestly, it's a really cool book. It's not just information. I know some people kind of, when they hear books about personal finance, personal development, they kind of think, oh, no, this isn't for me. But they get discouraged just because they think it's just going to be financial lingo, ... But it's not. This book it's storytelling. It also takes it and analyzes the story and then tells you how you can kind of place it in your life and how you can take how you can kind of like, how it can affect your life. I guess that's what I want to say. So overall, I recommend this book. It's very good. I liked it. I read it twice. And yeah. Cheers. Next book. So the next book is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Now, to be very honest with you, to be completely frank with you, I've never read a book about war strategy or politics, and I've never been interested in a book about war strategy. Politics, on the other hand, like modern politics, I do like reading that. But books on war strategy and war development, that is something that I've never even considered. So that's what interested me in the book at first. I thought I'd just pick it up and give it a try and see if I like it, see if I can understand it, and see if there's any takeaways that I can actually apply in my life. Obviously, we're not all at war with each other, but it's still good to have an understanding of the past to further develop the future and not repeat the mistakes of the past. So let's talk about it. To give you guys a bit of a summary, a bit of a background of the book. It's very, very old. It was written in ancient China in 500 BC, I think, 500 BC. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But obviously I read the translated version that was a little bit more updated to have a better understanding. So it was a very quick read. But the first time I read it out, and I took it very literally. I read it the way it is, just about war tactics, different techniques about defeating the enemy, catching the enemy by surprise, using their weaknesses. It sounds violent, but it's not as violent as I make it out to be, honestly. So the first time I read it, very literal. Second time I read it, to try to look for hidden meanings. And the third time I read it, I finally understood the hidden meanings. And I had a notebook, and I wrote them all down in a notebook. And then from there, I said, okay, so what's the takeaway from this book? How can I actually use this book and the knowledge I gained from it to kind of apply it to my life? I looked into the book in specifically to business and business negotiation, especially when you're negotiating terms with someone. It kind of gives you tactics and looking into deeper weaknesses of the, I guess, enemy, quote unquote enemy, and how to use them to your advantage. So overall, I think it's a very good book you can apply to your life. So I'm gonna read y'all a passage that I really like that I took and put it in my Instagram bookshelf. Here's the Instagram bookshelf. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when we are able to attack, we must seem unable. When we're using our forces, we must appear inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we're far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. So it's basically about deception and kind of using the enemy's weaknesses and them underestimating you to your advantage. So that's my takeaway from the book. This book, if you would have asked me the first time I read it, I would have given you a 6. I have no interest in this book whatsoever. The second time I read it, the third time I read it, maybe I would say almost 10. 9.5, almost 10. It was really good. So I do recommend reading it, and I do recommend reading it more than once. Give it a chance. Bismillah, let's read. So John C. Maxwell, we're going to talk about John C. Maxwell and failing forward. So I'm going to read you all a passage from the book, and we'll just talk about it a little bit. The difference between average people and achieving people is their perception of and response to failure. So this book I read twice, and I even recommended it to family members and my sisters. So obviously in everyone's life, there's going to be challenges you're facing. There's going to be times where life's going to knock you down repeatedly, and you're just going to have to keep jumping back up. Now, what I really, really enjoyed about this book is it talks about different types of failures and how to attack them, how to use them to your advantage. Now, I do have to add this. I've always been open to it, but one thing I took away from the book is now I welcome mistakes. I welcome challenges. I welcome failures with open arms. Obviously, I'm not encouraging myself to fail, but I am welcoming it, because the only way you're going to develop better as a person and become better at your skill or your craft and fully develop your craft is by failing repeatedly, by trial and error, by trying something repeatedly. And if it fails, you're obviously going to take notes and make it better. So this book kind of teaches you that it's okay to fail. And even when failing, there's a positivity. There's a good outcome to it. There's things you can take away from it to become better. So yeah, I really like this book. I would rate this one a solid 8, 7 or 8 out of 10. It's not my all-time favorite, but it is still on my bookshelf. So yes. And obviously this book you don't have to buy. I bought in store because I like the physical copy, but you don't always have to buy it. I know YouTube, there was an audio version of it that I started off listening to when I was at the gym, and I said, okay, this book interests me, I'm gonna go buy it. I know YouTube has an audio version. I know Google even has a few PDF versions. John C. Maxwell, his books are everywhere, so you don't always have to go out of your way and like spend $50, $60. Obviously, you do want to support authors, but if it's something that you really want to learn and you're unable to, there's different ways to do it. So yeah, or you can just get it from the library. Yeah. Yes. So another book, while we're on John C. Maxwell, it's on my bookshelf, is Today Matters. I like this book. So, Today Matters by John C. Maxwell. I'm going to read you a little bit of a passage just so you can get a better understanding. Set the tone for your day by treating people better than you expect to be treated by them. Be the first to smile, express your appreciation for them, expect the best out of them. Now, Today Matters, what I got from it is seizing the day and being as optimistic and positive as you can, and how that will spread to the people around you. You not only will kind of gain an amazing like outcome of your day, but it will also influence the people around you. This book is pretty much closely linked to Failing Forward, the last one we spoke about, but it tackles on more positivity and more incorporation of positivity in your life. So a solid 6.5 or 7 out of 10, just because I did find it to be a bit repetitive. Nonetheless, it's still a very, very good book. So if y'all see me, I keep looking over there. It's because my cat's laying down and I'm just making sure I'm not waking her up. That's why I'm like quiet sometimes and I'm really loud sometimes. I gotta be very observant of that because she's right there, and if I wake her up, I'm in trouble. I'll put myself in like timeout or something. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's all. I know this video is going to be too long, and I intended it to only be 4 minutes. So if you guys want another book talk, I have a lot of books on my shelf. I have a lot of books I haven't discussed yet. And then if you head over to my Instagram, I have my entire Instagram bookshelf of my top books that I've read this year. Obviously, I do need to add a few more because I have been reading a lot. I'm going to continue Think and Grow Rich and give you all my opinion about it, especially the people that love business, investment, and personal finance. I'll tell you what I think about this book because I have read quite a few books on investments and just personal finance in general. So I'll give you all my honest opinion about this. But for the most part, this is like the book to read when first starting out. And I think I skipped a few steps and didn't read this one, but everyone's recommended it. So I'll tell you what I think about it. And this was $7.99. So pretty affordable. I'm so sorry if this was a really long video. I was not intending it to be a very long video. I wanted a 4-minute, very quick book talk. I know I only discussed 4 books, but when I do discuss books, I tend to kind of go on a tangent a little bit, I've noticed. My cat's still asleep, so alhamdulillah, she hasn't woken up. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this book talk, and many more book talks to come, inshallah. And I'll see you all around. If you have any recommendations, please, please, please go to my Instagram DMs and send them to me. I'll do my best to list out the books below and their authors and where you can find them. And then this video isn't sponsored at all. These are just a few of my favorite books and that I read recently. And I'll catch you later. Bye.